The following video contains spoilers. We suggest watching the episodes alone in the dark. Yo ho, Wolfpack! Captain Catastrophe on deck. And we're gonna play pirates in order to shanghai that evil female dog who plundered our very trust. I'm Blindbeard the pirate. You know, I don't think I can do this. I know tons of our viewers have been craving vast Goosebumps galore, but after everything that's happened lately, I'm not sure if I'm even in the mood to do this anymore.
That's a darn shame, because I leapt galaxies just to see this.
Blacksmithorange!
Yes, it is I, Blacksmithorange, the ghostly host of horror, here in the Haunting Hour house to totally not plug my epic book and chill channel, which you almost check out right now, or is Hauntings by me.
What are you doing here?
I was just traversing the cosmos, studying abroad to find myself, and I found myself wanting to kick some Goosebumps butt. Let's do a killer crossover.
Catabunga! You made it just in time to help us review one of Goosebumps' most popular spooky tales of sea, the fan favorite Headless Ghost.
Ah yes, an episode admired that many fans of the show watching it realized that our favorite low-budget horror series could actually reach movie quality levels of greatness. Believe it or not, R.L. Stine's novel of this very tale actually didn't reach the same heights of popularity as the adaptation did. Truthfully, the book's version is slightly divisive amongst fans. Nothing terrible at all, as it does have many great moments and subtle scares. However, the ep was so good that it blew the source material out of the water for many a Goose fan.
Indeed. The reason why the novel wasn't an instant classic compared to the likes of The Haunted Mask or Dead House is due to the slower, melancholy approach Stine experimented with, and having the ghosts kept vague throughout most of his adventure, which numerous readers did not get into.
Oh, I'm so bored. Maybe I'll clean out my wallet.
However, so many fans inform me that they adore the adaptation precisely because they feel it improves upon all the weaknesses of the book and injects more life or death suspense to make it more energized than the low-key, dreary haunted house tales. Our old pals Billy Brown and Dan Angel penned this script themselves, which does grant me hope that there are some golden doubloons submerged in this chest, because these two made lots of treasure. There's a very vocal fan base who legit prefer the episode over the book, but also book fans defending that the page was better.
It's certainly an acquired taste. They were here to check out the visual medium stab at bringing a mixed book onto the big screen. Despite split fan reception, many Goosebumps tales were salvaged or even upgraded by the show's spin on them, and the Headless Ghost does have endless potential for grim terror, which is why the Ghost and Cat are here, united to see if our favorite horror saga caught a real whale of a tail with this trip.
So, let's stop wasting time and set sail. Is this episode truly a perfect portrait which captures the soul of Goosebumps' greatness? Or does it deserve to be beheaded?
This is our wacky fishing trip on the beloved campfire story, The Headless Ghost.
It's headless, not brainless.
So, our episode opens up a long time ago in a beach house far, far away, where some wacky jump cuts introduce us to a dumb dork named Andrew Craw, trying to contact ghoulies, specifically ghost pirates.
The overall atmosphere of the episode, especially the opening shot, is fucking beautiful. Just beautiful. I love the cinematography of this overall. It does totally feel like a movie level. The way the hazy purple hues of the sky complement the dark moonlit lake and just the overall scenery surrounding the lighthouse is both very gloomy yet super satisfying to look at. It's so good that it almost feels like as if I'm looking at a painting.
If you're here, show yourself.
But Mama Craw tells her boy to stop annoying the dead. She's trying to nap.
Why aren't you in bed?
I was just going, Mama.
You were looking for that ghost again, weren't you?
No, I wasn't, Mama. Honest.
Now go to bed.
I will, Mama. I promise. Good night, Mama.
What, do you get paid every time you say mama?
But he signs his death warrant when he goes too far.
Come on, you stupid old ghost. I'm not afraid of you.
Oh, hell no.
You know, it's rather careless on the boy's part to piss off a ghost like that. Like, WTF, I can understand being annoyed with a ghost ghosting you, but what do you expect would happen when you piss off a ghostly murderer? Free hugs? But of course, the Babadook beheads him.
We cut ahead to present day, where we meet Otto, the eccentric tour guide, and our two protagonists, Stephanie and Dwayne, as the haunted beach house has been renovated into a ghost museum for tourists to see famous murder sites in this scare city, being dubbed the Hill House.
A cute little shout out to The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, as a way for Stine to sneak in those horror homages.
Dwayne and Stephanie are basically two pranksters who love causing scares around town for the lulz, especially at Hill House.
We went too far that time. She was really scared.
That's the point, Dwayne. The twin terrors of Wheeler Falls strike again.
Which is a major change, because in the book, the dynamic duo were notorious tricksters who trolled everyone in town except at the Hill House. This was a change done to make the storyline flow at a much tighter pace, and provide more focus at the cool haunted setting. Sadly, this was not the only change, as very large elements from the novel were altered or removed entirely. Almost all of the outside scenes away from Hill House are gone. Dozens of characters, such as Edna the tour guide, the relatives of the kid heroes, other spirits in the mansion, and even most of the neighborhood kids the protagonists met are deleted. Dwayne and Steph's love for scary movies is absent, and tons of book events, including the final act, were entirely rewritten. The Headless Ghost is another one of the examples of the show changing the original story the most. The episode hits all the basic beats, but is not a completely faithful retelling. Just like Return of the Mummy and Shock Street, we're looking at a compressed adaptation.
While I'm not a fan of drastically altering source material, the episode does do a decent job of recapturing the novel's spirit. Despite purging lots of the book's events, what it does show is fairly entertaining. Otto is easily the best character in this. The way the tour guide plays his role is entertaining as hell. You can tell he is having a lot of fun, and just watching his portrayal is so delightful. Like, the way he tells us the stories about Hill House is just amazing, since he actually talks in a somewhat cryptic and mysterious tone. Like as if he has a genuine interest in the stories. He must know a lot.
The ghost pulled Andrew's head off and hid it somewhere in the house. And every night since then, Andrew's ghost wanders these halls, searching for his head.
The problem is, maybe knows a little too much. He just does an awesome job of being both mesmerizing and mysterious, yet very delightful at the same time. He definitely is the highlight of this episode simply because of how well he hooks our interest. His narration of Hill House almost reminds me of the way Dr. Loomis told of his experience with Michael Myers in the original Halloween.
It was over 150 years ago that a sea captain built this house for his lady love. When he came back from a sea voyage, he found his beloved had left him for another man. The poor captain died of a broken heart, but his enraged spirit lived on, taking revenge upon anyone who dared live in this house, and upon anyone who mocked the ghosts within.
His frequent storytelling unlocks the backstory behind Hill House. Prior to our titular Headless Ghost, the mansion was haunted long before his death. Hill House belonged to a ghostly sea captain.
It's kind of you to deliver these copies of jugs. They'll keep my men from resorting to homosexuality for about 10 minutes.
Long ago, there was a sea captain who lived here who lost his beloved wife to another man when she presumed he died traversing the ocean. Overwhelmed by depression, he soon died of loneliness.
For reasons we can't explain.
However, pissed off at his breakup, the ghost of this seaman now haunts his old home, adding new victims inside it, such as the Headless Ghost, should they ever lack respect for his final resting place. Those who pay respect are spared his wrath, but those who mock him are at risk of a gruesome fate, even children. And naturally, our kid heroes don't believe that and ain't afraid of no ghost. ghosts. Dwayne and Steph's actors do a decent job performance-wise, but they are total dicks. The duo are basically exact copies of Lucy Dark, troublemaking sassy brats known for annoying folks, but are about to be scared straight when they enter real danger lurking about. They have a nice character arc, both in the book and show, about maturing and to cease their douchebaggery ways, but can get real obnoxious and stupid at times. They're so irritating that Otto actually hates them in this version, because they keep upsetting the spirits, so he frequently player kicks them.
Out with you now, and don't come back until you're willing to show Hill House the proper respect.
And sadly, your tolerance for the two will either make or break this episode. Dwayne is a prissy sidekick dragged into his homegirl's hijinks, but does show some regret, while Stephanie's a total jerk, who can get so bad you kind of understand why the ghosts want her dead.
You have no respect!
Respect this, you old grouch!
Don't!
Fucking bitch.
In short, these are some rotten kids.
Tired of easy mode pranks, the two plan on doing something new, sneaking off from the tour next time to locate the ghost's missing head and explore the off-limits. However, an eerie shot reveals that ominous folks overhear the plan.
I'm not weird and creepy.
I can understand why Stephanie never makes it onto top 10 best Goosebumps hero lists. She's almost as careless as Andrew, but with a worse attitude. There are times when her uncontrollable behavior is the sole reason why supernatural threats are happening against her and Dwayne.
She's such a butthole.
The next day, Otto delivers the sea captain spiel again, where he somehow never questions why the brats keep showing up, even though he knows they cause mischief.
Well, I'm glad to see our regulars have decided to behave themselves tonight.
After all, 75th time's the charm.
Each of these portraits represents some poor soul who tried to live in this house and then died a horrible and grisly death.
As a ghost, I have to say the way my people are portraying this is a very mixed bag. While we do just appear like regular people and it can sometimes be hard to tell if we are ghosts, the idea of them being hostile just perpetuates a very harmful stereotype and gives others a very negative view of us. Makes me kind of angry. Stine, I love you, but do better.
While Otto puts on a repeat, the duo sneak into the private captain's office in order to find that head. But Dwayne starts getting cold feet at the warning signs.
I think this place is off limits.
Oh, great. Another genius.
The Headless Ghost's plot is mostly straightforward, as the two troublemaker brats simply want to find a real ghost, with seeing the lost head as an easy way to prove the legend exists. However, along the way, they also undergo a humbling journey where they see the error of their ways and grow into good kids. Caring about the Headless Ghost sort of makes them learn empathy and save his well-being. A basic plotline, but the episode upgrades things with grand visuals to make the haunted house shine as the true star. I agree with Blacksmith. The imagery in this is breathtakingly gorgeous. It's movie good.
44.1 kilohertz sample rate!
The overall atmosphere of the episode, especially at the beginning, is pretty solid since it does do a great job of setting up a very eerie and somewhat Lynchian mood. Just the opening itself has a very dreary feel to it because despite there not yet being a supernatural threat, you can feel just from the overall ambience that something is just not right with Hill House. The episode builds up towards the monsters instead of revealing them instantly, ramping up all the suspense. The creepy world does wonderfully, hyping up our twists.
Unfortunately, I do think the writing is lacking at times. We seriously get 3 fake outs. 2 of Steph trolling Dwayne until when they hide from a ghost, they only get in trouble with Otto, who bans them for life. The Otto fake out is pretty clever since he finds them easily due to knowing this house like the back of his beard. But so far, nothing ultra scary has occurred since the intro. My big gripe is that they save way too much gold content for the halfway point.
I want it now.
Steph acts like a twit again and wants to break more rules, where the creepy dude watching them earlier shows up to lend a hand.
Who are you? My name's Seth.
McFarlane.
Seth is actually Otto's sketchy nephew, offering them VIP access into the house's top secrets, so they can hear the uncut Hill stories. Which, of course, Stephanie and a guilt-tripped Dwayne buy, because how can you not trust the guy who rode the Phantom cab?
That night, things finally get gruesome again when Seth shows them the secret levels of Hell House, telling them the band's story, everyone's favorite part, the tale of Ice Cream Boy.
A long time ago, there was a boy who lived in this room. A very spoiled boy who loved to eat ice cream. Strawberry ice cream. Ice cream. Ice cream. He always wanted ice cream, and he kept the kitchen maid hopping with his demands. Ice cream. He just couldn't get enough ice cream.
What, do you get paid every time you say ice cream? Update your grammar, bro.
Miraculously, in a tale about a boy being beheaded, this manages to be the darkest part of the whole story. The tale of Ice Cream Boy adds more death and grim terror in an otherwise already grim plot, which made me love this episode even more. Seth informs them that another kid died in Hill House, a once privileged rich brat who was addicted to strawberry ice cream, who fell to a grisly death here when his love for the Frosty eventually consumed his life.
The dumbwaiter didn't come all the way up. The boy reached. And he reached. Until, finally, he reached too far when the maid found him at the bottom of the shaft. It was hard to tell the difference between the boy's face and the strawberry ice cream.
Jesus muffin Christ!
That's so dark. I'm amazed the kids show managed to pull it off. This episode's very impressive in terms of how far it's willing to go. The stories surrounding Hill House are surprisingly ghastly, and what's very haunting is that a good amount of them involve kids. Stories of kids getting decapitated and even falling to their deaths. I don't remember this show ever getting that gruesome. Keep in mind, this aired on the same channel as Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, and Bobby's World.
Thanks, bud. Good luck. By the way, I love your show. Warner Brothers paid me to say that.
Now that you have seen me, you cannot leave.
Even darker, Seth teases that Ice Cream Boy's death was no accident, but the ghost pirate may have pushed him in the wrong direction. If you couldn't tell, the ghost captain's greatly expanded upon in the show, to the point where he's the true villain. I can see why some view him as an underrated foe, because I don't know if I'm terrified of his child killing or amazed he actually succeeds at it on a family picture.
Why not both?
Sadly, like all women, Steph's still unimpressed and demands real ghosts, so Seth takes them up to the final nightmare room, the captain's secret Goosebumps gallery.
What's this for? Oh. They say that the captain's ghost paints a portrait of his latest victim.
Well, I'm sure that's nothing.
But, haha, Seth plays a trap card by trapping the kids in the chamber, revealing that he's the headless ghost.
I'll need a new head. And guess what, Dwayne? I'm gonna take yours. I need your head, Dwayne. I need it too.
And apparently he plays the Batman Beyond theme?
It won't hurt. Well, maybe just a little. It's only a second. Quick twist. Come right off. Snap.
This shock fails because it's super confusing due to him having his head. This doesn't even work as a fake out. How the fuck was the head borrowing supposed to work? Is he even the same ghost? Was Seth actually Andrew and he's now using someone else's head? Whose head is it then? Oh, it turns out Seth isn't the headless ghost and it's just trolling them. I'll admit it is kind of cool since his prankster status kind of coincides with their personality, but it just feels kind of pointless given that it doesn't leave much of an impact. It was obvious that they were trying to trick the viewers out and may even shock us, but it just feels so out of left field. It's like you might as well have said, and I was the one who pushed that ice cream kid down that dumb waiter. Just kidding. I was the ice cream kid. Like, it just feels like it was just put in just to be this one big psych moment, and it feels inexplicable as fuck. Like, why did he have to lie and say he was the headless ghost? I don't know, it just feels like it was put in for shock value, but plays off more as confusion value. Like, was it supposed to be a shock when we learned he might be the headless ghost? Didn't really feel like one, given that we learned he's lying about a minute later. Was it supposed to be a shock that he was a ghost at all? I mean, that was kind of obvious at the moment they met him. I don't know. We learned from Otto he might have been a prankster or something. But his backstory doesn't really hint at that. Just an unhealthy fixation for ice cream. I don't know, it's like, why have that shocking twist if it turns out that the twist isn't actually true? Was the twist supposed to be that there was no twist?
Too many questions. Too many questions.
In short, it's a bizarrely lame fake out. But we get our actual twist. There's a real headless ghost after all. It's just not Seth.
What were you expecting? A dish of ice cream?
Yep, in the final act of this headless ghost story, only now does the headless ghost show up. And it's pretty disappointing. Andrew's actor is just plain terrible, and even worse are the ghost effects. These are some of the worst CGI I've ever seen, since they're hilariously fake and make the Twilight Zone's outdated work look like Jurassic Park. Ironically, the titular headless ghost is my least favorite part of the story, thanks to this.
Rape my childhood, will you? You'll all die! You will all die!
It doesn't help that the ghost boy is also a major dick. In the book, Ghost Andrew was actually nicer thanks to his redemption arc. When the kids help him reunite his head and body, he gratefully thanks them and ascends to heaven. But for reasons I don't follow, the headless ghost is a prick, even when he gets his head back.
What are you looking at? Who, me? Don't play innocent with me, girly girl, or you'll find out that my bite is worse than my bark.
Fucking bitch.
So, after Andy finally retrieves his head, he just leaves.
Was that it?
We waited this whole time for 10 seconds of ghosts.
This twist also feels a bit too comedic for a tale which is mostly dead serious, and the children have reactions that can only be described as funny. She just saw a ghost boy, and she just totally accepts and moves on. It would have made more sense for her to show some fear, given that she had just recently seen a boy's decapitated head.
A ghost? Boring! Steph asks WTF, but suddenly Otto arrives to enforce the rules. Pissed off at the trickster twins, he forces Dwayne to go so he can lecture Steph. But once the door shuts, haha, Otto reveals that he's the ghost of the sea captain. In fact, he has a ghost family. Yep, Otto is the evil sea captain who haunts this home, and the kids became his undead minions. And this is where we stop following the novel completely.
In the book, there actually was no villain, and this final battle was 100% made up for the show only, to inject more horror. The sea captain left his home long ago, and even though Otto was secretly a ghost, he was more so a friendly ghost who overlooked the Hill House until Andrew found peace. The adaptation does a pretty unique idea by simply combining both Ghost Otto and the sea captain as one person. It adds a much stronger twist compared to the fake outs we've had because Otto is haunting his own resting place and despises the kids due to them showing disrespect for his death. On the page, this boss fight was non-existent. The book's climax simply has the kids save Andrew's head and help him make peace, where he sends to a better world while the tricksters reform from their mean ways upon aiding a lost soul. But the episode's something more epic. Helps that TV Otto is wicked.
The ghosts are mad at Steph, constantly dissing the hill. So Otto paints her into a ghost among his Ghost Fam collection.
What?
Yeah, this is only briefly explained, but Captain Otto's a mad artist who adds souls to the home's history in order to keep their lives forever, forced in his crew. It's not well elaborated and kind of random. I mean, didn't he just kill people?
Great continuity!
But Dwayne hears her scream since he was only 3 feet away and rescues her by easily photobombing his pick.
You suck.
While I do enjoy an epic climax, this is so bad. The villain's easily defeated faster than Nia, and as the duo escape, we get awful effects galore. Otto's too goofy when we see him flying around like Superman. Look everyone, Wolf's a ghost too!
My sole issue is the climax does feel somewhat rushed. Like, it kind of feels underwhelming simply because it's a bit short and doesn't really feel as major as it should be. The interactions with the ghosts, while while fairly haunting, are kind of vague, and I don't like how easy it was for Dwayne to save Stephanie from having her soul taken. He just had to splash water in the painting. That's it. That's all it took to save her. Hell, Stephanie could have even done that herself. I don't know, the threat overall feels weak as hell due to how quickly and easily it was averted. And him being a ghost, why do you let them leave so easily? Didn't he have the power to lock them in? Can't the other ghosts haunting the place do it? Why couldn't he simply stop Dwayne once he came in? What were the other ghosts could have helped him? Why is it called Hill House if it's near a lake and not actually on a hill? Who shot JFK? What happened to the people of Roanoke? How did they get the caramel inside of the caramel bars? And who ate all the garlic bread?
Too many questions.
I appreciate the writers trying to ramp up the drama, but it still fails due to being super anticlimactic and dropping way too much plot on us in under a few seconds. But at last, we reach our twist ending. We cut to next week, where we spot a new couple moving into Hill House after buying it from realtor Otto, hinting that the hauntings ain't over yet, as he'll be gaining a new painting real soon.
We heard the place was haunted.
Haunted, right? And I'm a ghost. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll be very happy here.
I see you.
I'm almost scared, but now I can't help but think, why is Otto getting money out of this if he's undead? He hosts tours in his museum and sells the home on the market, but what's a ghost need with money?
It would actually do me no good at all, because I'm dead. What do I need money for? What am I gonna do? I'm dead. What am I gonna do? Buy gum?
This twist is also the last major change from the book. In the novel, the duo have matured during a time skip and decide to repay Hill House a visit for all time's sake, only to discover that the home was shut down long ago. Otto and his crew were all ghosts this whole time, and every time the kids were there, they were hanging with the undead, attempting to use the children into helping the Headless boy rest in peace by finding himself. Although I'm sad Joy and Stephanie just disappeared in the end of the show, alive but well, this does a decent job at the here we go again finale, if you will.
Once again, the saga continues.
Anyways, that's the end of the beloved fan favorite, the Headless Ghost. And it's a nice return to old-fashioned campfire ghost stories, but it's not the best catch of the day. Won't lie, I never saw this episode as an all-time classic. I remember liking it just fine and having fun with the dark horror moments, but it's not a tale I race to rewatch. I think the ghosts actually have genuinely cool backstories. I'm very impressed by how grim the plot goes. The atmosphere's perfect, the plot has fun from time to time, dazzling visuals, some genuinely good jokes, and Otto rocks. However, the effects are pond scum. I never found it scary beyond the fridge horror. Stine's fake outs are weak, Dwayne and Steph lost their nice character arcs, and the final act rushes way too much. Kids might definitely love it up until they see the trash CG, yet I don't find it compelling enough to place high up there, next to the golden gems. I felt like it could benefit from being a two-parter, because there's clearly good content here, but what we got falls a tad short.
This is a pretty solid episode. Aside from the slightly anticlimactic ending and the Ramos Hell bit where Seth lies about his identity, this tale does a perfect job at nailing the atmosphere and just building the overall mood of the narrative. The tone of this as a whole helps create a very immersive world and even makes you feel like you're exploring the house with the characters simply because of the fact that you can almost feel the overall dreary mood of the place resonate off the screen. And don't get me started on those stunning shots of the lighthouse. I could talk about them all day and never shut the hell up about them. Probably the best cinematography I've seen out of any Goosebumps episode. The book was a little more subtle with its scares. In fact, there are segments in the first half where you aren't sure if it's something supernatural that is occurring or if it's something easily explainable, which it usually was. That kind of made it a little better than the ep, given that it just demonstrates how being those dark, old, dreary places can just really put you on high alert because of the overall gloomy tone surrounding them. I actually can't help but wonder if R.L. Stine was inspired by The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, since not only is the house named after the one in her book, but she also takes a very similar approach to it, the scares in her book as well. While R.L.'s book is a little better, this still sells in terms of mood, as well as pacing. This is easily one of the most underrated episodes for me, so for that I give it a B+ for adding tons of great material to the show, but will admit there is room for improvement.
I grant this sea shanty a silver skull. This is an okay episode. episode. I like it, but I don't love it. The question on whether the book or episode is better rages on, since I think both have their own strengths and weaknesses, but the adaptation is alright. The Headless Ghost had a huge wave to ride, but while the ship's intact, it still needs to get its head straight.
I'm Blacksmithorange.
And I'm Catastrophe.
And we'll haunt your screen again next time.
Thanks for showing up, Blacksmith. So glad to have our first ever Goosebumps crossover review.
No problemo, kitty. Just glad to help.
Oh, speaking of which, would you mind signing up as our backup here? We're entering a death battle against my psycho ex-girlfriend, and could use some help. Don't.
What were you expecting? A dish of ice cream?